How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Thank you so much for jumping in. Today, we're going to be talking with Chris Leiferman. He is a professional triathlete from the Colorado area, has a great background, an atypical, wow, I can't speak today, an atypical type of background as getting into the triathlon world. He jumped in and realized, oh man, I'm kind of good at these things. Really just cool story, and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Chris Leiferman. First off, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Humble Pod. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me on.
yeah, man. So, how was the ride? I was just hunting on your Strava a little bit. It looks like you're preparing for Unbound Gravel. Is that right?
No, no, Tyler Butterfield is. He
Oh,
is
okay.
yeah, he's racing and like it's a stages. It's a noon ride here in Boulder. It's kind of a
Yeah.
small group today. I hadn't done it since last year, so this is only my second time ever doing this group ride, but it's usually it's short, it's punchy. And he's on a mountain bike with a lefty fork and um like he's on a hardtail mountain bike.
Like a
And
Cannondale or something like that?
yeah, and he's got mountain bike tires on, and he's rolling hard with the group, and he's up front. He's taking pulls. It's just like, yeah, he's a very talented cyclist. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
How did the ride go for you? How are you feeling?
yeah, it was good. So I have a hip injury, and they
Okay.
say the doctor, the PT, like, go ride, go swim, go elliptical. So I'm riding and swimming and just trying to keep my mind with it. Riding hard is fun and it's it feels fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
My hip isn't. I'm not running, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to. I think I'm doing the right things. Let's hope so.
Yeah. Is this the first like hip injury issue that you've come across?
Yeah, something like this. I had PRP 15 days ago, um, and
The
just
injections, right?
yeah, yeah. So just kind of waiting for that to work. I don't know. I really it just kind of blows my mind, like how this is going to fix it.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, but
Yeah.
they say it is, and just trust them. Keep doing PT. Keep doing my strength. Keep uh yeah, just keep keeping on.
Yeah, right on, man. Do you know the science behind PRP? Like, did they give you an explanation of like how they're going to do this, why it should work?
Yeah, well they spin down the platelets, and the platelets are going to go in and ignite healing and create an inflammatory response in
Yeah.
the regions that they put the injection. So they Jason Glowney did it for me, and he kind of went everywhere because I had tendinopathy. There's a like a tiny torn labrum that they actually
Mhm.
even wrote off, like thinking that that wasn't even the issue. But so injected the labrum, tendons, the TFL, the glute tendons on the greater trochanter went into the piriformis.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it just ripped me apart. So he's like, well, while we're in there, let's just do it all so there's no delays. Which
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I mean, I was destroyed for a few days. I was doing everything I can not to be a baby in front of my wife and kids. Like I
Yeah.
was still trying to pull my weight around the house, but yeah, that
Yeah.
was. I don't know. We'll see. I just hope that my riding isn't detrimental to it, which they say I can, and
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing like it doesn't hurt. So
Yeah. Following the doctor's orders. What makes it so painful? Is it just because they're using like a really long needle to get in there and just pumping it in, or
just putting your platelets back in there. So
it just hurts?
it's just sheer volume, just fluid. Yeah. Um, just pushing apart the muscles. Like you went out right into piriformis, um, right where the sciatic nerve goes next to. So I mean, just push it. You can see on the ultrasound as the needle goes in there, and then the fluid. You just see the expansion of fluid
Oh my goodness.
under the ultrasound. And yeah, I was nauseous. Like I was like, doing everything I
I'm
can
gonna
to
pass out.
not
Yeah,
wonder,
that would
pass
be
out,
me.
and then I'm like, I'm about to puke. Like, okay, this is real pain.
Oh my
But,
goodness.
yeah,
How big was the needle? Sorry, I'm just like
about
really
6 inches
curious.
long.
Oh
No,
my
like,
gosh, dude.
yeah, okay, 5 inches long. Yeah, yeah,
I would
it
be
was.
that would get me enough. I mean, I've had to have
Yeah,
some long injections before, but like it sounds like they went in like multiple times.
yeah, 3 injection sites, and then
Mm.
so the one in the hip where he got the um, I think the piriformis and the glute tendons. He re he kept the needle in the same ejection site, but he redirected it, and you could just see the needle bend. Like it was just
Oh
like,
my gosh,
like
stop.
because
That
he
would make
wanted
me
to bend
sick.
it and then redirect it, and he's just like bending it, redirecting it. Yeah, he is I don't know. He gets the job done. He's
Yeah.
really good at what he does. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have a lot of trust in him.
Yeah. Right on, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's super interesting. I've heard about this stuff happening, but never kind of got a firsthand experience telling of the tale. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
So first real question for you. How old are you first, if you don't mind me
38.
asking? 38. Okay. So you've got some good life experience. My question to you is who is Chris?
Um, I don't know. I think he's just um well, first foremost, I'm a dad and a husband. I really that a dad and a husband who likes to ride bikes. It's um yeah, it's I would say that that's first and foremost because it's every time I come home from training, I'm no
Hmm.
longer a triathlete.
Hmm.
Like it's just I have absolute blinders on. It's
Yeah.
kind of nice. I can kind of I get we get all the work done, then just come home and I'm a dad and a husband and a
Yeah.
family man. So that's I'd say that's what I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. What or how old are your kids?
They're gonna be Cruz will be 5 in July and
Okay.
Levi, my daughter, will be 2 in June.
Nice. Coming up. Yeah, so they're still relatively young. They probably don't care much about triathlon yet, I would assume.
No, they don't. I mean, it is definitely my life.
Yeah.
They know that I swim, bike, and run. I'll be headed out in the morning, and Daddy, you gonna go run? Daddy, you gonna go swim? Or
Hmm.
obviously, if I'm kitted up, they know I'm going for a bike ride. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, they definitely know what I do, but I don't think they're just like he's playing.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because I get to do this for a profession, and that's pretty
Mm.
rad.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely my wife, she owns her own real estate firm and she works, so where's mommy? Well, she's working. Like, or is she in the office or is she showing homes or like, she's out, she's,
Hmm.
she's gonna be home late because she's working, so yeah, they don't really understand
Yeah.
really what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as they get older, hopefully. Where are you from?
Minnesota, southern
Nice.
Minnesota,
Okay.
cornfields, soybean fields, and hog barn.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a flat, pretty flat,
Yeah,
but a
super
lot
flat,
different than where you're at now.
very flat. Yeah, it's much different. Um, yeah, I don't miss it, but definitely is an interesting, good way to grow up. Town of a
Yeah.
thousand.
Oh wow.
Um,
Very rural.
it was a rural town, and yeah, wouldn't change it.
Do you have siblings, family back there in Minnesota?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're up by Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So
Okay.
I'm one of four boys, third in line,
Okay.
and they're all up up out in the metro. Yeah, my parents ended up moving up um northwest of Minneapolis. So yep, got out of that one horse town.
Yeah. Was that something from a relatively young age? Like you were like, I think I want to spread my wings and go elsewhere.
No, never crossed any of our minds.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't even think it crossed anyone in the town's mind, honestly.
Hmm.
Like it just was never
Just have what
a
you need.
thing. Yeah, it's just kind of um we all just kind of did, like
Yeah.
no one ever thought like oh, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to get a sponsorship or sorry, a scholarship or
Yeah.
uh, everyone just kind of did their thing, went to school, played sports, and figured out the next step.
Yeah. So what did or do your parents do?
My dad was a master electrician, so he owned
Okay.
his own business. My
So,
for about 40 years, and my mom, she was a lab tech for a while, and then she ended up being, and she was working as my dad's secretary
okay, cool.
for many years, and then eventually was just full time working for my dad.
Nice.
I mean, they
Did
both own
you
the business, yeah.
Yeah, did you grow up then pulling line? Was it more commercial or
Yeah, it's
residential?
residential, a lot of rural, so a lot of farms, a lot of grain lakes, a lot of hog barns. Um, a lot of service calls. Not too many people were building houses in our
Yeah.
town, but we, had um, few houses, a few additions, but a lot of farming. So towards the end of my, I guess, working for my dad was a lot of grain lakes. Corn prices are pretty high, so people,
Mhm.
you always start to see if hog prices are good, we're building barns. If corn prices are good, we're building grain lakes. So
Yeah.
it just kind of ebbed and flows. There was a time where, both hog prices and corn prices were shit. So I had to work for the city. My dad just couldn't afford to keep me on. So it's
Mm.
um yeah. Then another summer I had to work for a hog barn. So I was um doing that. But yeah, so worked from a very young age.
Yeah. How young?
I mean, I was on the payroll in sixth grade, I think.
Oh, let's go.
Like I was literally getting a weekly paycheck.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it teach you a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, how money can evaporate quickly. Like, do you remember getting that first paycheck? Kind of what that felt like after the hard work was done.
Yeah, I mean, then my parents would teach you how to, set X amount aside. I think I bought a BMX. A Schwinn
Oh
is
yeah,
is orange, is a BMX bike. With at the end of the summer.
nice.
That's
Did
pretty
it have
legit.
pegs on it?
Oh, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah,
yeah.
front pegs, back
That we
pegs.
never used,
Yeah, totally. It's
just to
only
stand
just
on.
it's only just to haul friends
Yeah.
from house to house. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so funny.
yeah.
I remember getting like a mongoose that I guess is like one of the cheaper ones, but you could like turn the handlebars all the way around, and
Get a
like that
gyro
was
on
the
it. Yeah,
feature. Yeah,
totally. Yep.
that's so funny. So, whenever you started working from a young age, I mean, so I worked construction for a number of years, but not till like high school and college, just through friends, families, doing framing, electrical, some plumbing work. So I got my hands dirty, and I remember like learning a lot of lessons from that style of work because it's very you do something with your hands, either you progress or you make a mistake, and you kind of learn and recircle back. So a lot of life lessons I learned in those years. Do you recall any just life lessons or things that you learned from being on the job?
Yeah, absolutely. Thing that really stood out is my dad was the boss and had been for many years, and he had men underneath him, and he was super good at delegating. But you
Hmm.
never saw him tell someone to do something that he wouldn't or hasn't done himself.
Hmm.
Because when you're working in the shit at the hog barn, like literally, and you tell someone to go do this because they're a grunt, you don't do it just because you don't want to do it. You do it because it's something like you just kind of have to like my dad has done all of this,
Yeah.
and he, so that was just kind of cool. You always saw the boss doing some of the hardest stuff,
Hmm.
and I thought that was really cool to see because I worked for the city, and dude,
Yeah.
they were terrible. That was so freaking frustrating watching them work. I'm just like, just fire all of them and let me let me
Yeah.
let me do the job. But you just saw the boss work so freaking hard, and um, it just it never you always just did it. You never questioned like, oh man, this kind of sucks. Like, or do I do this? Like we're on a time schedule. You have to do this. Job has to get done. You'd be running from the truck to the grain leg to save time. You worked so freaking hard. You ate your lunches on your feet. Um,
Hmm.
uh, you learn that breaks actually make you lethargic. Like if you just keep rolling through the day,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that just as far as getting the job done and working hard and earning earning that Coke at the end of the day, or the beer if you're old enough. Um, so it was, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I took from that. But I'd say
Yeah.
watching my dad delegate um, was a really good take home.
Hmm. So, given the experience that you do have with your parents and the work and kind of what you're doing today, who would you think that you're more like, your mom or your dad?
Oh, my dad, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, all of us.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
all of the boys,
yeah,
you're saying? Yeah.
yeah.
How so? Like what makes the just yeah, expound on that if you don't mind.
Um, no, just the work. I think if we're all leaders. I'm not saying that
Mhm.
my mom isn't. It's just that we never really saw her in that role. Like it was always she was my dad's secretary. Maybe she was before I was able to witness it, but she took care of she took care of us boys. Like we always saw her as mom, and then we always saw dad as the breadwinner. And I mean, her role was probably more important than what my
Mm,
dad did. And any mom's role is
yeah.
as important, if not more, than a husband's role in that situation. But I think seeing it um, from us boys' standpoint uh, was seeing the dad that way. But um, yeah, my older brother owns his own uh, deck building company. He's almost number one. He's number two, if not number one, biggest deck company in the Minneapolis St. Paul metro area, which is
Wow.
pretty baller.
Yeah, it's
My
like
younger brother works for him. My my other brother, he's the head of the Buffalo community, and they're putting up this $5 million building that he's in charge of, and
that's sick.
he's like just taking the reins on um, all of the inner workings of that, and it's all um, just kind of cool to see, and I think that wouldn't have happened had we not had that upbringing. So,
Mm,
and I'm a triathlete. I don't have a team underneath me, but it's hard work day in and day out, and I think that was instilled early on.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing that. So, when did you first come in contact with triathlon and tell me about that story, just the genesis of it, how you decided and started to realize, oh, maybe I can be a professional at this and to kind of bring us up to today.
Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't know anything about professional triathlon. And when I did my first triathlon is a Mankato, Minnesota, or University of Minnesota, Mankato indoor tri. Um, I had been running. I built a house in southern Colorado. As I point, like you guys know where I'm pointing. I pointed
Yeah.
south. um, I built a house in southern Colorado, and I was running 3 days a week because I was just wanted to lose some weight while I was down there, and um, but working 14 hours a day all summer to get that done. And the my brother, he had been mountain biking in college, so when I came back, he wanted someone to ride with, and he built up a bike. He was working at a bike shop. He found a bike, he built it up, and told me to ride. And he goes, start swimming because I signed you up for a triathlon. So that's when I started swimming, and I ended up winning the first triathlon. And then that summer, I just started doing, every weekend or every other weekend, I was just doing races all summer. In Minnesota, you can kind of pick. I don't know if it is still today, but when
Hmm.
I was doing it, like every weekend there was a little triathlon at a little lake, because there's so many options. You would just go and bounce around, and that I think Minnesota had a series, and I think I won the series, but it was unbeknownst to me that I had won it. I just happened to have chosen the right amount of races that
Oh,
qualified
that's
points
crazy.
for it, and and then I raced. was it like yeah, it was a Lifetime. Yeah, so the Lifetime Olympic Series. So
Okay.
they had Minneapolis. So my wave was at my wave was at 8:30, and it was just a blistering hot, humid day. And it was so late. Like it was already in the 90s by the time I started my race. But the pros went off at 6:30. And I'm like, well, I want to start early. So how do I get to be pro? So then
Starting early. Yeah.
I look on USAT and I'm like, okay, so you have to come in, it has all the criteria to become pro. So then I ended up going down to Austin, Texas, so that I could get that elite card, so that I could have an earlier time slot in next
At the
year's
hometown
Lifetime
race.
Minneapolis race.
I love it.
So I go down to Austin. I qualify. I email the race director um, for Minneapolis, and I'm like, "Hey, can I get in the elite spot?" And so so I ended up getting that elite spot, and it was just, and still then I hadn't race. So let me backtrack a little bit. There's a pro
Yeah.
wave, and then like 15 minutes later was an elite wave. So it was like a 6:30 start and then a 6:45 start. So I started in the 6:45, even
Okay.
though I had qualified for pro, but I had no idea that that was the case. I just wanted to be in that spot,
Yeah. That's
earlier
so funny.
spot. So then it wasn't until, so this was maybe oh 2010. So I think
Okay.
or two, yeah, something like that. And then um I didn't do my first pro race until 2013, like officially pro race. I did Memphis in May.
Wow.
And then I had transferred out to Colorado State University and joined the triathlon team there. So I was doing collegiate races, and um, then my wife Zana, she was on the team too. So then we were dating at the time, and we ended up going out to Memphis in May, and that was my first pro race. I won that race, and then every race after that was pro. But it just like just kind of fell into it. Zana was like, "Oh my gosh, you should race pro because you don't have to pay entry fees." And
Earlier start times, no entry fees.
yeah,
This
early
is the
start
life.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you're paying for all these entry fees, and to just turn pro, and then you can have a free entry fee, and like that's just kind of how it went. It was never this thing. I don't know. I did my first race in 2008. My first pro race was 5 years later. I'd qualified for pro in my first year. Like, it, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird,
I'm
weird, weird trajectory.
I'm continuously or increasingly surprised at how many stories amongst professional triathletes that this kind of a story is somewhere in that existence. Because for me, like, I was interested in, like, oh, maybe I could go pro, very early on, like, oh, maybe I want to shoot for this thing. And I think that's because the sport has grown. But it's shocking to me how many in our age group, I'm a little bit younger than you, but like in the 30s, like I guess going back 15 years, how many people had just kind of stumbled into it? Oh, I was cross training for this because I had an injury, and then I did it and I won this, and it just kind of happened. Um, but I mean, it can't go without saying. Obviously, the sport's gotten more competitive over time, but it can't go without saying, like, you must have had some level of just natural talent or ability to go and just win this, and then you went to Texas and, oh, I won in your first pro race. Oh, I won. Was it? Do you chalk it up to just having a lot of athletic ability? Like, is it luck? What do you think?
Well, I would say athletic ability. I wrestled, played football and baseball my
Okay.
entire life. Um, I should have ran. I never did.
Yeah.
Um, I just hated it, and
Hmm.
so, but I couldn't sprint for shit. So I should have known that, like in football and in baseball, like it was terrible, like because that's such a short, fast twitch sport.
Yeah.
Wrestling, I excelled in the third period. Is like
Get that
I would just
endurance.
out endure them. And yeah, but I didn't have the guidance or someone to be like, dude, like sit me down and tell me like this is not your jam. Because no one I didn't have that type of guidance in Truman.
Yeah.
Uh, but but it was also fun. I was playing with most of my friends. You know,
Yeah.
baseball was legit. I played spring ball and summer ball, and you're just out there every day, every weekend, practicing with your friends, throwing the ball around, and it was that was that was just fun.
Yeah, had I
Um,
not known your previous history, just kind of looking at you, like you seem like you could be like a professional baseball player. Maybe it's the cap a little bit and the athletic shirt, but I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm seeing like, oh, do you play for the Dodgers? Like,
yeah, right. Um, yeah, I think I got asked that question a few years back, like what professional sport would I be in if I could choose anything, and I chose baseball. Um,
yeah,
you know, 172 games a year is 162 games a year, 172.
yeah,
Um, you know, it's a heck of a schedule, but it's pretty fun. It's really fun.
yeah. So, at what point did you start to think, oh, I'm not just getting free entries now? Like, maybe there's some viability to me doing this as a career.
Um, I mean, I went to school and um, I was working. I was doing odd end jobs, handyman jobs. I was going to school full time, and I was training as well. So and racing, and you know, following doing some Rev threes, doing some Ironmans, and then every year I'd kind of go a little more in, like I'd do less handyman work. But I think once that had probably been, trying to think when I moved down here. I think so I won Ironman Mont Tremblant, and that was pretty
Hmm.
eye-opening because I was still working, doing handyman work. It wasn't a ton, but I was
Yeah,
still like advertising myself on Nextdoor and on Craigslist and to as a handyman. So I was still doing stuff, but I was able to say no if I wanted to, you know. But then once I won that race, then it was like, okay, I think I should like stop.
yeah. Like, go
Um,
for it.
yeah, and then go full in. So that was 15, I believe, or 16, 2016. Um, and yes, that's about it. Um, and then again, like it's still kind of weird. Like I always had this in the back of my head that my family was like, "What are you doing? Like, why aren't you working? Like, why aren't you
Mhm.
like clocking in, clocking out?" Um, and I battled that for a long, long time. Um, but now my family's, you know, my biggest fan, and they're I think kind of a little jealous with
Yeah,
the travel that I'm allowed to do and what I get to do day in and day out. And you know, I send them photos from the top of Trail Ridge or Peak to Peak,
yeah,
and um, you know, so it's that has slowly dwindled, but that was a long time that I was just like, okay, I feel like I always have to work just to
yeah,
satisfy um, this demon that is just telling me like I shouldn't be doing triathlon.
yeah. So it was all internal. Like it wasn't like was your family supportive, like pretty much
They
from
were
the get
always
go?
super supportive. Yeah, there was,
That's awesome.
yeah, um, yeah. There's one time at Lifetime Fitness because when Lifetime Fitness was in its prime, there was some heavy hitters, right? I don't know
Oh
if
yeah,
you followed that, and I got fourth at Lifetime Minneapolis in an Olympic, like it was,
yeah.
Olympic just,
I wish they had
and
him still. Yeah,
and um and you know, my whole family came to watch me that time, and that one was I think they were just like, holy shit, like you know, I was ahead of a handful of Olympians, and
yeah.
um,
Chris is legit.
yeah, right. So I think we're eating dinner at my or eating lunch at my brother's place that afternoon, and you know, my brother invited all the friends over, like he was just like trying to show me off a little bit.
Yeah, here's my pro
Yeah, cool.
athlete,
I was puffing
bro.
my chest out there, you know, like I was
Yeah,
pretty proud too. But so that's pretty cool to see, but it still just didn't. It was just hard. It was hard to really take it in and deal with it. Even like right now, I'm sitting around here. I'm not racing. I was supposed to race Oceanside in Texas, and I have a hip injury. And I'm like, and it kind of sucks to walk around because it hurts. But so
Mm,
I'm like, okay, let me help pull the weight around here, and I am taking a lot more on with the kids, but um, I want to do some housework, but I'm like, okay, no, don't do it, don't do it. Just it's fine. You'll have time to do it later or some other time, but.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's still a little bit of me that I just can't kick it.
Yeah. That internal burn to keep moving and keep working. I think that's a good thing to have. Like that kind of begs me to my next question is like once you decide that the sun is setting on the triathlon career, like what do you want to do next? Like you seem entrepreneurial. You obviously have that drive internally to do and excel at whatever you put your hand to. Like what do you think is next?
um, well, yeah, I've actually thought about this quite a bit. Um, my first thing is just do a lot of stuff around the house because I am notorious for starting jobs and not finishing them.
Your poor wife.
Yeah, like I get myself into trouble because I'm very capable at doing a lot of things, but I'll put in like a massive push, right? But then I won't have any of the trim work done, or there won't be painting done, or like all those little things. Like I can just see it right now. There's just so much. Um,
It's like
but
holes of drywall in your house.
yeah, yeah. So just all those things, like the I haven't caulked over there, and just like all the little stuff needs to get done. But my wife, she owns her own real estate firm. She is the best in the county, and I think her and I as a team, flipping houses would be a really, really good step forward. Um, and would make sense, and I
Yeah.
think that would be awesome. It'd be fun, be gratifying. Um, and yeah, would make a really good team. So
Yeah.
that would be, but that just doesn't happen overnight. Like you have to find the right house, right? You can't just be like, oh, let's just go flip a house tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. You got
So
to find the right property.
would have to make sure that we find the right properties, but um, I don't necessarily want to be a handyman. I think I really didn't enjoy some of the jobs that I had to do back in the past. So um, definitely be working for myself and doing stuff. I think would make it work. I think we'd have, yeah, it would be a good team and find a good niche. Although it would be cool to, I want to volunteer too, though. I feel like I've been a pretty selfish person, so
Yeah,
I want to do some stuff for Boulder County, maybe in the Forest Service.
that'd be
So
cool.
that'd be um, something that I would do either on a bi-monthly or twice a month basis, something like that.
Yeah. For moving on to doing something else, like, the past, like you're saying, past 10 years, you've taken this very seriously. You've been racing, obviously, for 15, 20 years. Like, this is a very long time. And, like, essentially half of your life that you've been doing this sport. Do you think that when you do decide to move on, is it going to be difficult in terms of how you identify just your self worth and who Chris is as an individual?
Um, I don't think so. But I'm afraid that when it does happen, I will I will struggle with it. But sitting here, I think like nope, I'll be able to move on. I've done my time. I've had a good career. Um, but it is good. I think it will be tough just because, reality is going to sit in. My buddy Justin Dare he's a sports psychologist and he raced professionally for many years and he actually excels with talking to people in this instance, like kind of this transition period. And
Hmm.
I think um, I see because I say that it's going to be easy for me because I didn't come from this sport when I was 12 years old, 5 years old. Like
Yeah, you weren't born into it.
yeah, like I wasn't born into it. I started when I was 21. That's when I started swimming. Um, and it just, um, so I think the transition will be easier. I think it's those people who have, maybe even had a collegiate sports career and, we're in a system growing up and then all of a sudden sport is done. It's like, okay, what's next? It's like, well,
Hmm.
you know, I think that transition for me will be easier. But, I'm a little afraid of it. I freaking love this lifestyle. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get to do it. And I think what's going to be hard is trying to run or go on some group rides and get shelled out the back.
Just let
Knowing
that
knowing
go.
that I was the guy in the front shelling people
Yeah.
out the back.
Yeah.
And now I'm being shelled. So I think that'd
That'd
be
be
tough
tough.
because,
Yeah.
I think I'll be an athlete for life too. So um yeah, we'll see. I don't want to think about it now.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask one more question. Do you think like that you'll continue to stay involved in the sport of triathlon? Like, you still want to race? Do you want to volunteer like as a part of the community, or maybe even start a business in that world? Or you're pretty committed to just closing that down and moving to something totally different?
Yeah, I feel like there would be like I would want to help young pros as more of like a mentor. I've been thinking about this because I think if you start triathlon and you win a world champion, you're going to be sorted. Don't worry about it. But there's a lot of these young pros who get the pro card and think doors are going to open for them, and they don't. And I think someone um, could be there as a guidance for these people, or to be able to help someone who has seen some really good success and help them like capitalize on this. And I think some of these people just don't have the right mentorship.
Mm.
I don't think that I necessarily did when I won Ironman Mont Tremblant. I feel like there could have been a bit more um, guidance for me in that time space. But so I don't know. I would like to help people in that direction. I don't know if I ever will. But I see that um, I just see some people just think that they're gonna have the best thing happen to them just because they
Hmm.
turned pro in triathlon, and it's like, no, you just went from being an age grouper, passing people, now you're just going to be in the most boring race possible because
Yeah. Get just completely dusted.
yeah. But you can still have fun and be pro and you know go and travel the world and get sponsors. But I just think people just need to understand what they're coming up against.
Yeah. Well, the sport's changing quite a bit. I mean, I've only been a part of it now for like 5 or 6 years, and it's changed wildly just in that time, especially post COVID. But it is interesting to see like how the sport has changed, what is expected of a professional athlete, just in terms of sponsorships, and what it is you have to do to be on the top end performance wise. Like it's definitely changing and growing, which is a good thing. And I love the community aspect of triathlon. It's almost in a lot of ways like a religion, because people, this is where they get their community, this is where they get the sense of worth. It's where they try to earn a living. Some of them, or some of them, it's just spending money. If you're an age grouper, that's
Yeah,
all you do is
exactly.
just spend. But yeah, it's interesting to see how it continues to grow, and I hope that it doesn't lose that as it becomes more and more of a top tier sport. It still has a lot of growth, but still it's growing quick.
Yeah, I think it still has a lot of growth just because it's like a lot has changed since 2020. A lot. Like that was a massive bump. Um, and um, so we're still in its infancy. Um,
Hmm.
and you're starting to see people come in to pro triathlon who have been triathletes their entire life, not just a runner turned triathlete, or not just a cyclist turned triathlete, or not just a wrestler, baseball, football player turned
Yeah.
triathlete. Like you're seeing triathletes now come all the way up.
All
Like
the way
they
through.
are lifelong triathletes. And for better or for worse, you're obviously gonna end up starting to see burnout and people not doing it because they had done it so long, but the people who hang on are gonna be freaking good. Like, and that's what we're
Mhm.
seeing. So
Yeah. So for you as a professional, like what gets you in the zone when you're getting ready to make it happen?
training or racing,
Both.
both. Um, well, just the fact that I get to do it, the fact that I get to go out and ride my bike or run healthy, um, is just exciting. Uh, and swimming can get tough, but the group that we swim with, Julie Dibbins leads an awesome squad, and you go there and people are going to show up ready to swim hard. Obviously you have your days that you're flat, you're not feeling it, but you still show up and you have a good time. And I've been doing a lot of group rides lately and some fun rides, and just being able to just get out and do that on a today was a Tuesday and I was riding my bike in the middle of the day. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And just that aspect of the sport just keeps me coming back for it. So it's
Yeah, that gratitude.
um yeah, I mean weather has its downsides. Obviously I'm not all pep, it's um you're tired, weather is crap, or it's you know just other factors are hard to beat, hard to mentally overcome. But you get out and do it. Coming back and finishing a set, knowing that you didn't quit. Like there's so many times that I would go out and say, I'll just a basic set, like 4 by 10 minutes, and you do the first one, and you're like, wow, that was really hard, even though it's like I have three more. So, and then you do the second one and you kind of peter off towards the end. And then you almost about to pull the pin. And you're like, well, no, let's just see how the next one goes. I got 2.5 hours, 3 hours to tick off. So I got to keep riding anyway. And then you do it, and then you get to the fourth one, and then you like kind of finally come around, and you just kind of you have this sense of like, man, I could have pulled the pin 40 minutes ago, but I didn't.
Mm.
And even though I know it's just kind of a minuscule win, but even to this day, of how many intervals have I done on the bike, but I still get gratification out of like pushing through and
Oh yeah.
not giving up, and um, uh, yeah. So it's those things um, make make it more enjoyable, and the satisfaction you get when you come home is pretty rewarding.
Yeah, getting the little dopamine hit when I don't know if you're into Strava that much, but when you get that notification that it uploads, you're like, oh, let me go see what my heart rate was. Oh, let me
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
did I build it every one of those intervals? How many
yeah,
watts did I hit? Oh, cool, 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 cool.
yeah,
Heart rate was low. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's fun.
absolutely.
So, what gets you in the zone race wise? Do you have like a protocol or a specific place you go to mentally? Maybe it's music.
Yeah, no, I don't. I actually talk to people. Like I just kind of distract myself from like if you're in transition, right? Like I talk to people. I don't listen to any music. I actually had Ironman St. George. Um, I had headphones in, and my brothers after the race were like, "What music were you listening to?" Because they saw me on TV. They're like, "I bet you're listening to Corn." No, I bet you're a System. Like they're kind of thinking about what I was listening to. I'm like, I didn't have the headphones on at all. I just had them in so no one would bug me. And I actually had a I had a good race that day. I probably should have thought more about it, but yeah, I guess I was pretty well focused. But I always try to come up with some sort of distraction, and sometimes talking to people is that distraction. But it's
Mm.
it's weird. You get in once that gun goes off, everything. disappears. Every thought, like it is, it's a switch. I don't know if other people have this, but
Oh yeah.
um, yeah, it is an absolute switch. So it's cool that I can kind of put the blinders on and get into
Just
that
go.
over the top zone.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to most to getting back to racing? I know you're probably not loving being injured.
Um, I every year I get I get better. I'm swimming. I want to test myself. I'm swimming faster. So I'm excited to test myself against the group and get up there and put everything that I have out there. And I know the competition is getting faster too, but I'm 38 years old and I'm putting out better numbers every single year. It's just a linear progression and it's awesome. And I love that I'm able to continue to do that. And I just want to keep testing it. And I know that if I execute a good day, I'm going to be on the podium. Like I'm very confident in myself that way. It's unfortunately, there's a lot of variables that can happen in an Ironman.
Mm.
So it's tough to execute every single race to perfection. But I know that I have the speed and talent to make it happen. So I just want to go out there and prove myself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I love, I love training and racing healthy. So I'm just want to get back to running. I just can't wait
Yeah.
till it happens.
Yeah. What is your trajectory looking like for getting back to running? And then do you have a race that you're kind of loosely shooting
Yeah,
for?
I mean, loosely in early June. So there's Eagleman and Boulder, both back-to-back weeks. So hopefully be able to race one of those.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just just waiting
Yeah.
patiently.
Just wait. See how the
Yeah,
PRP, right? That's how I
yeah,
say
yeah.
it. Yeah. Sweet, man. Well, then, so let me ask you a couple other questions. By the way, this is a bigger one, so take as much time as you want to think about this one. But what would you say is the most important thing that you've ever done in your life?
Um, marrying Xana, I think that
Mm.
was. I mean, without her, none of this would have been possible.
Mm.
And she's been in my corner this entire time. We have two amazing children. Um, we're going on 10 years this year.
Congratulations, man.
And we're happy. Like, I don't know, life's good, dude.
Mm.
I cannot complain. And I have
That's
to thank
awesome.
Xana for all that. So
Mm.
yeah, it's pretty important.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Um, so one thing that I will use as almost a sledgehammer to kick people off the pedestal in my life is oftentimes these are business people. Sometimes athletes, they'll be up there and then I realize like, oh man, they had a failed marriage. And don't get me wrong, like there's various reasons why people can have failed marriages, obviously. But to have a successful one, like you have to have both sides fighting and loving and being willing to work on that marriage, I think, constantly. And I mean, that's just like anything with endurance sport, no matter what. So to have people be successful as an athlete or successful as a business person, that's one thing. But to have a successful family, I think is like the ultimate, penultimate version of success. What do you think like are some of the lessons that you have learned to make marriage work in a lifestyle like where your wife is working, has her own business, you have arguably your own business with the triathlon, you're doing your own contracts, and then you have children in the mix and all of these other things. Like what are some of the linchpins that have kept things together and to get to 10 years of marriage?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't have the best answer for that. I think for us, well, childcare. I think
Yeah.
childcare is like people say, "Oh my gosh, childcare is expensive." I'm like, dude, it's gonna save your relationship. Like you have to, as much as our kids are awesome and as much as, that they actually are easy, but they're kids. Like it's a lot. And for us to it allows us to be able to work full time, and then we love the hell out of them. But when we're home
Mm.
in the evening and in the mornings, and it's great. And but Yeah, it actually has been tough to be honest. What's having kids? Like I want to go on a date with Xana. I don't think we've gone on a date since January, and we're recording this in April, so it that kind of sucks. Um, but you know, we I don't know, we allow each other to do like we don't like she went out with her girlfriends the other day and it's just like, yeah, no big deal. Go for it. Like I'm allowed to do what I want, obviously within reason. There's obviously
Sure.
some other things, but I can go
Gotta
on
have some
training camps.
boundaries.
I can go on races. Like I can um yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to allow your partner to do because they are also an individual. Like it's um and that has really helped. But we also have the same um like she was a professional triathlete for 4 years that we met through triathlon, so she gets my
She
lifestyle.
gets it.
Um and we kind of grew with each other, and I think that really helped out. So I mean everyone's relationship is different.
Hmm.
And it is so hard. There is not a right answer. I wish I could say that we have the best communication. We don't. Um, we could totally be better at that. Um, and but we try. We try to show affection in front of our kids so that they don't grow up thinking that. Um,
Mommy and dad are friends, just friends.
yeah. So it's yeah. I don't know. We have a good what I don't know. We're doing something right.
Yeah. You're
We
trying. I think that's
yeah, we
mutual trying.
try. Uh, yeah,
Thanks for sharing.
yep.
So for you in your mind, what do you need to see or what needs to happen, if anything, for you to look back on your life and be like, yeah, that was a success? And it can be triathlon specific, it can be life specific, just as being a human. Like, what do you think?
In life, I just want our kids to always like be cool with us. Like I don't want our kids to get to, teenagers, okay, they're gonna have their times like any teenager will, but like after high school, like I want them to always want to come back and always want to see us, and we're like we're my family's super tight. Um and I want that. I think if we continue to go through life, and us kids and Xana and I, like we always call each other on a daily basis, or like those things, like I think that'd be a win in life for sure.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I mean, how many more years of life do I have left? How many more years of
Hmm.
triathlon do I have left versus how many years of life do I have left? I am far more concerned with how many more years of life I have left. And I
Hmm.
think with um, having that aspect of being able to see my kids grow and be part of their lives for the rest of their life is a good goal.
Yeah. Hmm. I want to ask you an experimental question.
Yeah.
I have never asked this one before, but given just the perspective, it maybe not may not be the best word, but just given the mindset that you currently find yourself in when I'm picking up, I feel like this would be an interesting question. So, your kids are Levi and what was your boy's name?
Chris.
Cruz.
Yep.
So let's pretend for a second that they are somehow going to watch this when they are turning 18. So they're like figuring out, oh, I'm not going to be a teenager much longer. They think they know everything in the world, but they are secretly deep down looking for some level of just like direction from dad. What would you say to your kids if they were watching this right now, if they were 18?
Oh, dude. Okay, so I don't have a good answer for that, and I haven't had a good answer about anything of kids because it all just like happens as it
Mm.
happens. Like you learn to change a diaper because the diaper needs to be changed.
True.
You learn to feed the bottle to the baby because this is the stage in life. Like um yeah, so to say how I'm gonna feel to Cruz when he's 18 or Levi when she's 18 is really tough because I don't know. Like it's really hard to think that because I haven't had an 18-year-old.
Mm.
I was probably um maybe I was tough for my parents, or maybe I didn't necessarily have the best guidance because, my dad was working from sun up to sundown, and
Mm.
my mom was like there'd be times we'd be come home from school and there'd be a casserole in the oven with a direction saying turn it to 350 and bake for this long because no one was home. Like it was um they were working their butts off. So um uh yeah, don't have a good answer for you. I know it's probably not what you want, but it's
No, I don't know what I want, but I do know that I want to ask another question.
yeah, go for it.
So, what is something then, like for you, when you were like 18, 19? What is something that you wanted to know, maybe, or something that you wish like would have been instilled a little bit further that you would have confidence in? Because I know for me, my perspective, you know, when I was able to go from the age of seeing my mom and dad as my parents to seeing them as a human, realizing that, oh, they were just a kid as well. Like the way that I was able to shift that perspective gave me a lot more of just understanding of, why they did things the way that they did them, and forgiving them for some things and loving them for a lot of things that they did because they were trying their best to give us the better life that they never had. So like, what is something you think that you wished when you were younger you would have had a little bit more confidence in relation to like the relationship with your parents?
Um, so you've had time
These
to
are hard,
you've
deep
had you've had
questions.
time to think about this question or the answer. Um, I don't. I think a lot of they didn't. A lot of the answers to their guidance was like, just do it. Like you have. I don't know. There was no thought behind why I needed to do things or if I was feeling, I think we're now much more aware of mental health. Not that I struggled as an 18-year-old, but I think that it was um, I had really big shoes to fill. I think, we're from an athlete standpoint, my two older brothers were phenomenal athletes, and I wasn't near near their near where they were at, and it just I didn't have the guidance of like how to manage myself around that. I just wanted to quit because it sucked because I couldn't fill their shoes.
Hmm.
Um, and they simply just didn't know what to do in that situation, which I don't blame them. Like I don't know what do you do?
Hmm.
So I think that could have been better. Um, my oldest brother, he was pretty cool. He could didn't care too much for me because he was 6 years younger than him. And then my next oldest brother, like yeah, we got along, but not like as a mentor type of relationship. Like we were really good friends, and but not like hey Adam, I need to talk to you type. Like we never really did that, and I think I could have utilized that type of like hey, mom, I need to sit down and talk. Or, hey, dad,
Hmm.
well, yeah, I mean, my dad would have not done that.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't think anyone would have, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that could have helped me in that lifetime, just get through, because it did kind of suck. So just had to bottle it up. deep and push it
Yeah.
deep down inside.
Yeah. Have you popped the top? Like, have you
I
popped the
mean,
top off and worked it?
I don't know, not really, but I don't know if there was much of a pop to top. Um, I did have to, kind of bail from University of Minnesota, and I got out here in Colorado, and so that was nice. Once I got here in Colorado, things, started. Is life got life got really good. I was always best when I was, busy. Um, when I was working full time for my dad, that was awesome. You just always had this. You wake up and work. You
Mm-hmm.
work all day, and you
The
come home,
routine.
and yeah, you just have a really good routine. Um, College was kind of tough for me because I didn't have any any guidance to college, like none. I have teachers at school. There's maybe one teacher that was pretty good, but did nothing. It was still pretty bad, but it's
Mm.
also my fault too. Um, but I just didn't have any guidance outside of what I had currently known in Bill Truman. So
Yeah. Well, well, for what it's worth, I'll say like the fact that you're able to put words to it is, I think, really valuable thing. Obviously, I'm younger than you, so you have a bit more experience and you have kids. So take all this with a grain of salt. But from my perspective, it seems like you have um, like the ability to look back and be like, oh, these things were hard, these things were tough, and I maybe want to make them a little bit different for your kids and whatnot. So I think that that's a good thing. Allowed so many people, my mom included, for example, like it took her till just recently, she's now 53, 54, where she was able to kind of put words to some of the issues, after just losing my dad from when I was younger, like, and her going through that whole thing. Like, she really pushed me and my sisters to like, oh, you got to go deal with your issues. She didn't really know how to do them, and she was like, well, I don't need to. I'm strong, and kind of what you're saying. Like, I just bottled it up, and I'm strong for everybody, type of a thing. So being able to put words to it, I think is like a huge advantage just for the next generation. Because yeah, I'm excited to be a parent. Hopefully in the next couple of years or so.
yeah,
I'm also terrified because I realize the older I get, I'm like, man, I said I would never be like that, and there's my mom right inside of me saying the things that I said I wouldn't say or wouldn't do. So
yeah.
I'll have my mistakes to make and whatnot. But yeah, for whatever it's worth, I think that that's really cool that you're able to look back and kind of put a name to that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So for my closing question, just want to give you the opportunity to again maybe give a little advice to those new professional triathletes. They just got their pro card, they're elated, they think doors are going to open to them. What are some of the steps that you would give them in the beginning for just getting their ducks in order to realize just what it means to be a pro triathlete?
Yeah, I think it's just understand that because you're pro doesn't automatically mean that you're gonna start earning money. Like it just doesn't. It's not like you just signed a contract with an NFL team. There is no base salary, and I do think that some of these pros are like, oh wow, okay, well I'll start getting sponsorships. Yeah, you probably won't even get that. You know, it's really tough. But I'm gonna take this phrase from my friend Justin, but just keep showing up. Just always put in the time. Just keep showing up, keep showing up. Don't get discouraged. Like um just you're gonna have maybe a little bit of uh you're going to be coming to swim practice, and you're going to be with some really fast people, some Olympians, some world champs, some other pros that have been in the game for a long time, and you're going to kind of feel a little down on yourself, but you're gonna earn your stripes. Just keep showing up, and um you just have to. It's not going to happen overnight, and I think too many
Mm.
people see some of these Europeans just come out of the gates at 22 years old and um, just light it up. And you're like, well, why am I not doing that? And I think you have to understand that people's physiologies are different. Like you might just not be, um, that good, but that is okay. Like
Hmm.
there are anomalies in the sport. Like how many how many NFL players are there, but everyone only knows a Tom Brady? Like obviously everyone knows
Mm.
of other sports players too, but like there's just these certain good good athletes out there, and that's the case of sport. That's what it is. Like there are just really good people out there. So you have to just really focus on yourself and be the best that you can be. Be the best you can be. And too many times you come up into the sport or any sport and you're like, I need to be that good. But maybe you can't be. Maybe not yet. But don't think that it's going to happen within this year or even the next
Mm.
year or the next year after that. Like it is building block after building block after building block. It takes
Mm.
so much time. It's so it's I think a lot of these people just need to understand that, you know, just because you see this certain person have such success, and why aren't you having this success? And then they tend to maybe give up and or just be like completely discouraged. I mean, I've been there, and it's hard. It sucks. But if you just show up and try hard and you have the right guidance and your coach is really on your side and looking at the long game and you're doing everything you can to stay healthy, then that you have to be satisfied with that. And I think that's something that these some of these pros just sure,
They don't have anyone telling them.
yeah, they just don't have anyone telling them. So they just need to just enjoy the process because it's a long game. It's a very long game, and it is unfortunate that we see those few people, and it's a few people that just, they crush it out of gates. It's sport. You're going to see those people, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but it's got to be the best you that you can be, and I think that's something that people can learn.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time, letting me dive into some existential questions. Professional career, I wish you all the best as your hip continues to heal and hopefully get to see you racing and back here pretty soon. But I really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Seth.
Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on the pod and letting me ask some questions about all kinds of things. Really appreciated him taking the time and um, really taking some time just to come up with some answers that were from the heart. Really appreciate it when people do that. So, Chris, thank you so much for being on. If you are watching on YouTube, if you could like, comment, subscribe, that will continue to help grow the channel there. If you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of those things, make sure to review, like, comment, and anything you can do on those platforms will continue to help share and grow this podcast. Really appreciate it. Also, check out the show notes for any sponsor related content, any discounts, and things like that. I really appreciate you guys being here. Really enjoy doing this podcast. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do it. And we will catch you in the next one. See you.